Welcome back to the Rooted Bliss Podcast. Today, we're diving into something that gets spread and repeated all over the spiritual communities. But the more you look at it, the more it cracks apart. You've probably heard the phrase, "You cannot serve two masters." Sounds powerful, right? But here's the truth. Even that statement is dripping with separation. And I want to break it wide open today so you can stop playing in the game that never actually existed. Okay, so one of the oldest lines you'll hear in a spiritual or religious circles is this: "You cannot serve two masters." Sounds strong, right? It sounds like a commandment. It's a kind of phrase that makes people sit up straighter, like they've just been given the key to live righteously. But let's pause for a second, y'all. Let's actually break this open, because baked inside that phrase is the very thing it's claiming to free you from. It's dripping with separation. The statement assumes that there are two, that there's a contest happening, that reality has split down the middle, and you're in the middle of a battlefield forced to pick a side. Choose God, not the mind, or choose truth, not fear. Choose presence, not thought. But here's the crack, y'all. The second you've got two, you've already left what's real. The I am doesn't split. Present doesn't have rivals. Source doesn't play tug of war with itself. The mind loves this game. The mind is addicted to sides. It craves the safety of duality. It wants an enemy because when there's an enemy, it feels useful. It feels alive. It feels like it has a purpose. Defend this, fight that, choose right over wrong. That's why these teachings spread so easily. They give the mind a job. They give people the illusion of progress. Look at me. I'm choosing God over fear. I'm serving truth instead of thought. It feels noble, even holy. But if you look closer, it's still separation. It's still affirming that something other than truth exists. And once you swallow that premise, you're trapped. You keep playing the game of allegiance and rejection. You'll keep trying to silence one side and uplift the other. And the more you fight, the more real the illusion feels. But let's be blunt. Fear isn't the master. Thought isn't the master. The outer mind isn't the master or some tyrant ruling over you. Those are costumes. Those are appearances. They're waves of the ocean of I am. The only way they seem powerful is if you keep blowing to them as if they're separate entities. And here's the lie that nobody calls out. "You cannot serve two masters" still smuggles the idea that there are two. Once you believe that, you'll spend your whole life running back and forth, trying to prove your loyalty to one side while rejecting the other. That right there is how separation hides in plain sight. So let's go deeper. If two masters is the story, where does the crack actually show up? The crack shows up the moment you stop seeing fear or thought as something foreign. The moment you stop treating the mind like some outside ruler with authority over you. Because the truth is, I am has no rivals. Presence has no opponents. Alright, let's think about this. Who exactly is fear competing with? Who exactly is thought competing with? They can only exist because I am is showing up as them in that very moment. The fear that rises in your chest, the thought that loops at 3 a.m., Even the idea that says, I should choose God instead of fear, all of it is already the one. It's all source in disguise. This is the piece that most people don't want to touch because it dissolves the whole spiritual drama. If all is source, then even the illusion of separation is source. Even the wrong path is source. Even doubt, the striving, the worry, all of it is the one moving as itself. So who are you going to resist? Who are you going to reject? You see, the split only exists if you grant it power. If you bow down to the thought and call it the outer master, if you look at fear and call it not God, but in reality nothing stands outside the I am. Nothing. So here's the crack that really widens it open. The moment you realize that the enemy you've been told to fight is actually part of you, the whole war dissolves. There is no battlefield. There are no sides. There is no outer verse or inner. There is no master to dethrone. It's like waking up from a dream where you thought you were being chased, your heart's pounding, your legs are moving, and you swear someone was behind you, to wake up and realize it was you the whole time. Your own mind conjured the chase. That's what separation does. It fabricates a second master to keep you running. But when you see the crack in the illusion, you stop running. You stop serving. You stop bowing. Not because you've chosen a better master, but because you see there was never more than one. This is why I say presence doesn't need your loyalty. Source doesn't need your allegiance. It doesn't care if you choose it today or forget it tomorrow. It already is. It can't be dethroned. It can't be lost. It can't be put into a competition. The only thing that makes it feel like a competition is the story that you're serving to. And the crack in that story is wide open. The moment you realize even the story itself is source. Even the lie is the truth showing up as a lie. And when that lands, bro, the whole game shifts. You stop wasting energy trying to defend presence against thought. You stop imagining battles that don't exist. You stop being a soldier in the war that was never real. Instead, you rest in the one that never had a rival. You rest in I am. You rest in the presence that isn't asking to be chosen, because it already is the only thing that is here. Let's picture it the way the mind loves to paint it, okay? So, like there's a tug of war going on. One side is God, truth, presence. On the other side is fear, thought, and the so-called outer mind. And there you are, standing in the middle of the ropes, hands blisters, muscles straining, being told, you better pull off for the right side. You better prove your loyalty. You better serve the right master. That's the imagined spiritual teaching handout over and over. And for a while, it feels real. Because when you're gripping that rope, it feels heavy. The struggle feels like proof the battle existed. But here's the punchline. There's no rope. There's no sides. There's no battle. The whole picture is a fabrication of the mind. You see, the mind can't imagine oneness. It only knows contrast. It can't grasp already whole. So it invents a split to give itself purpose. Choose this, deny that. Pick light, reject darkness. Serve presence, silence the mind. It keeps you locked in a job, that never ends, gripping a rope that isn't even there. The freedom comes when you drop that rope, not because you choose the better side, but because you see the game for itself. And dropping the rope doesn't mean you defeat the other side. It doesn't mean you finally won. It means you woke up and realized, oh, there was never another side to begin with. Think of it like this, okay? Like shadow boxing in a dream. You're throwing punches at an opponent and feels real until you wake up and realize you were swinging at the air. That's what it feels like when you finally let go of the idea of two masters. Here's the shift. You don't need to choose presence. You don't need to fight for source. You don't need to push the mind away. Presence doesn't ask for your loyalty. It doesn't beg you to serve it. I am doesn't sit on a throne waiting to see if you'll bow. It already is, always. The only thing that made you sweat and strain was the illusion of the rope. And the second you see through it, you can laugh, you can breathe, you can rest. That's what it means to drop the rope. Not a victory, but a surrender into reality. Not a choice, but a recognition. Not serving, but being. And here's the beauty. When you stop playing tug of war, the whole field disappears. The sides vanishes. The fight collapses. What left is the only one that is showing up as everything. The silence, the thought, the fear, the joy, the tug, the release, all of it. It's all the same current. That's the moment life stops feeling like an endless contest and starts feeling like what it really is. You. Already whole, already home, already reality itself. Here's the thing most people don't see. The mind absolutely hates simplicity. It can't stand it. It will do anything to complicate what is already whole. Why? Because simplicity leaves no job for it to do. If reality is already whole, already complete, already I am, then what does the mind have? What's left for it to fix, to fight, or to figure out? Nothing. And the mind can't handle being unemployed. So it fabricates a struggle. It invents sides. It takes what already simple and dresses it up in a costume of complexity. You have to choose God over fear. You have to serve truth instead of thought. You have to prove your loyalty. And people eat that shit up. Because the mind craves effort. It makes it feel more real. Effort makes it feel like it's doing something important. But think about it. How many teachings sound deep because they give you work to do? Sit still for 5 minutes every morning. Replace every thought with a mantra. Write down the ways your mind controls you, then cross them out. On the surface, it looks holy. But underneath, that's just more effort, more striving, more proof that the mind still is in charge. Simplicity says there's nothing to fight, nothing to fix, nothing to serve. I am is already everything. But the truth doesn't sit well. It doesn't give you a checklist. It doesn't give your ego the satisfaction of progress. So the mind rejects it and instead grabs onto the complicated path. Because at least on that path, it feels alive. And y'all, I lived this for years. For years, I was chasing effort, trying to pray harder, meditate longer, fix more, become better, always asking, am I doing it right? Am I serving the right master? And I'd feel this little hit of pride when I thought I was on the truth side of the rope. But all I was doing was feeding the illusion. The more effort I put in, the more real the separation felt. And here's the heat. Effort never ends. The mind always demands more. More journaling, more meditation, more proof of loyalty. And if you're not careful, you'll spend your whole life serving a master that doesn't even exist. That's why simplicity feels so offensive to the mind. To say it's already I am, there's nothing to choose, nothing to serve. The mind hears that and it panics. It's like, yo, whoa, wait. No struggle, no path, no role for me? Then what am I here for? That's when people start adding conditions back in, because pure simplicity is unbearable. They'll nod when you say, all is source. But 5 minutes later, they're telling you how to reject fear and to choose truth. They can't stop turning into one into two, because then it gives them something to do. But here's the freedom. The one doesn't need your doing. It doesn't need your loyalty. It doesn't need your protection. Simplicity is so clean, so whole, so undeniable, that it makes the mind useless. And that's exactly why it's the only truth. So if you find yourself craving for effort, craving for complexity, craving for sides to pick, smile at it. See it for what it is. That's just a mind terrified of being still. That's just a mind terrified of being unemployed. And that's good news. It's already out of a job, because reality doesn't need it. The one is already here, already whole, already you. And no amount of complexity can change that. So here's where it all lands. If there are no more two masters, no more rope, no more sides to choose, then what's left? What does it actually look like to live like this? Not just nod your head at the words that you're hearing. It looks like dropping the question altogether. Not asking which master I'll serve today. Not measuring your day by day, how well you stayed on the God side, or how often you slipped into the mind. Those are games built on separation, y'all. Living as the one is realizing that there's no scoreboard, no tally of winning or losing, no spiritual progress report handing over your head. You can't be late. You can't be off. You can't miss it, because reality has never been waiting on you. I'm going to say that again, because reality has never been waiting on you. It has only ever been you. That means when fear shows up, you don't scramble to resist it. You don't chant a mantra to silence it. You see it for what it is. I am. Showing up as a thought called fear. When worry rises in your chest, don't make it the enemy. You don't go to war. You recognize this too is the one wearing a costume. When you stop fighting, life opens up. When you realize that there's nothing to defend, nothing to chase, nothing to earn, you're not here to serve presence like it's your master. You're here to be presence, because that's what you already are. And this is where it gets practical, because people always want to ask, okay, but how do I live as the one? How do I embody this? And the answer is so simple, it almost feels insulting. You're already doing it. You've never not been doing it. You don't have to add practices or strip them away. You don't have to hit some state of constant bliss. You don't have to prove your devotion. You don't have to choose right 1,000 times. You simply notice every thought, every feeling, every moment. It's all I am already. And when you live from that recognition, you stop measuring. You stop comparing. You stop wondering why somebody else has what you don't. You stop asking why they look further along, because all of it's still you. Theirs, yours, his, hers, all of it is the same one. Living as the one feels like this: freedom. Freedom from burdens of sides. Freedom from the pressures of proving. Freedom from the endless labor of serving a master that never existed. And it doesn't mean you sit in silence all day. It doesn't mean you float above life. It means you walk into every moment already whole. You make choices. You take actions. But you're not doing them out of fear or serving the wrong side. You're doing them as a natural movement as the one. That's what embodiment really is. Not rejecting the human, not trying to get rid of the thought, but embracing it all as yourself. The joy, the doubt, the noise, the stillness, it's all you. So when someone comes to you and says you cannot serve two masters, let it roll off. Smile at it, because you know the deeper truth. There were never two. There was never a choice. There never was a rival. Only the one. Only I am. Only reality itself. Living, breathing, and being you right now. And once that lands, bro, it's game over. Not because you've won the fight, but because you see that there was never a fight to begin with. There was never even a battlefield. It was only you being all of it. And that right there ends the separation. That ends the sides. The end of serving. And that the beginning of living as the one. If this episode landed with you, if something cracked open and you felt the weight of the rope dissolve, I want you to dive deeper with me. Check out my brand new book, There Are No Levels, the anti-sequel to the game you thought you had to play. It's live right now, and it goes even further than everything we touched in here. The illusion of progress, the end of striving, and living as the one. Grab it on Amazon today, and then let it hit you deeply and fully. And if you're ready not to just hear these truths, but live them side by side with me and a community of players who get it, come join us at Rooted Reality School Community. That's where the conversation continues and the challenges live forever, and the embodiment becomes daily life. You can also connect with me directly at blissfulrootsllc.com. That's where the hub where everything begins. For everything else, podcast, social, my holistic line, affirmations, and all my products that I create, it's all in one place in my link tree. Just hit the link down in the show notes below. And remember, you're not chasing reality. You're not serving it. You are it, always. And until next time, I love you all. And own it, be it, and flow it.